Mic check. Mic check, y'all. Should be able to see. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Mr. Blue here. TradePhantoms.com. Let's kick this off here. Kind of messed up the other link. I forgot to put it in landscape mode. But today's date, today is Tuesday, March 25th, 2025. I'm Mr. Blue here, TradePhantoms.com. I'll go over a couple of things here pre-market wise. Hopefully everybody's having a good week so far. It's only Tuesday. Pretty quiet week. At Phantoms, we have a kind of like a morning, not a morning prep, but a kind of Monday kind of weekly prep, if you will. Not sure if y'all gonna be able to see this, but today's obviously the 25th, Tuesday. This week, 24th to 28th. Pretty light week economic wise. We got Thursday GDP, that's a big one there. Friday core PCE, which is a big one as well. And then of course April 2nd, tariff day. Did a couple sector rotation prep. Financials, energy pretty strong. XLI, industrials pretty strong as well. Just real quick for just news. Today's pretty quiet regarding any economic news here. Nothing too impactful, if you will. But as always, be diligent because things can come across the breaking news banner on the on the radio and TV screens, right? So tariff talk, all that kind of stuff. Anything could happen at any time. So it's just kind of what the world we're living in right now, at least for the time being. I'm gonna probably keep this a little bit more shorter this time around. Usually I'd go all the way to the open, but I'm probably just gonna go do some pre-market prep. I'll do S&P futures, NASDAQ futures, gold futures, and do some SPYs, Qs, SPX, and then I'll see kind of what time it is around that time there. That being said, I will start off regarding futures and the major four indexes here. All right, so I got the S&P futures, daily time frame upper left, NASDAQ futures on the upper right, Dow Jones lower left, Russell 2000 bottom right here. And just real quick, I always bring this up every single morning. However, for folks new on the YouTube channel or whatever, welcome. And one of the things that you're going to realize at Phantoms is we trade institutional demand and supply. Okay, institutional order flow. So top-down approach, meaning that we're going to be starting with the high time frames, multiple time frame analysis, starting with the high time frames first. So that said, we got monthly, weekly, daily, kind of color coded in blue, yellow, and orange being monthly, yellow being weekly, and blue being daily. So anything that you see in my charts, orange, it has to do with the monthly time frames. This is a quick little document here for help for members. Okay, candlesticks location being most important of these candlesticks. These are the bullish ones. These are the bearish ones. Okay, bearish candlesticks, forget the names, but location being most important. You want to be looking at these as supply in the context of downtrends. Okay, and then we got the liquidity map, which is super important here, which is a main driver of how we trade at Phantoms, being on the right side and ride. That said, we got futures up. Nice little rally yesterday off of a gap up. So we got futures up about 0.21% on S&Ps, 0.18 on NASDAQ, Dow Jones 0.17, Russell 2000 a little bit more weaker here, down at 0.25. So pretty kind of quiet, subdued morning, but we're up a little bit here. Again, daily time frame of the S&P futures here, and a nice little drop. We've been talking about this drop for a little while now. And we're putting in a little bit of a, at least for now, a temporary bottom. The question is this going to be the bottom where we have a bigger correctional move up? We spent some time yesterday, being Monday, for the Monday prep, discussing several things, right? If it is great, if it isn't great as well, be adaptable, right? However, if I just kind of zoom in here right now, you can see yesterday, we had a nice little breakout day because if you look at the week prior, this is a daily time frame S&P futures here, okay? If you look at last week being like here, Monday where my cursor is, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, great. I just labeled the 5 days of the week like a 5-year-old, and we know what that looks like. But the point that I'm trying to make here is even with last week being a heavy kind of busy things going on, right? Options expiration, triple witching, Fed, so on and so forth, right? The markets really didn't really move that much. I mean, we had some volatility, we had some movement. Don't get me wrong. We went up, we went down, we went up, we went down. But we kind of remained in somewhat of a range last week, right? So why do I say that? Well, this week being Monday, kicking off this week, we had a nice little breakout move yesterday, right? SPY, SPX, Qs, a lot of stocks kind of had what's called an outside gap, okay, an outside gap up. Hopefully my volume is good. Hopefully my volume is good. So we had an outside gap up. We had a nice move, right? So looks like we might be able to get some continuation potentially today. As always, we're mapping out levels of demand and levels of supply. All right, and I'm going to map out the Globex highs, Globex lows in a moment. One thing I will have y'all have as a key takeaway here today for this morning regarding the S&P futures, the 58.55 is going to be a nice little hit point. 58.55, that yellow line right there. For if you're long, I would suggest to take some profit. Okay, and if you're looking to get short in terms of what we call a Globex trap, that would be a decent little level handle to lean against. Okay, I'll also have y'all note 58.85. Okay, that would be a price point above this, what we call a drop. There's a basing and there's a drop here. Okay, and one of the key things as a key takeaway here, which I'm emphasizing, is that this was once a previous level of demand. Now this is yellow, so this was a weekly level of demand. And we this is in the past, but we dipped in there, we bounced out. We dipped in there twice, we bounced out pretty significantly. All right, could not break the 6,000 handle on the S&P futures here. Inevitably, yes, we did drop and broke down below that. However, what I'm saying, what does that mean for today? Okay, what was once demand, okay, and the sellers came in and really broke this level down, is now supply on the other side. So that comes in about 5,885 and 5,855. So as you can see, I have this red box here to represent that that's going to be some supply going up in here to the upper left. Okay, if that happens to give out and break, okay, we do have 59.47 up here. Okay, 59.47, and now if we do get up here into on these upper levels up here, okay, this actually might be some decent places up here, just location wise, to potentially even enter some bearish exposure. Okay, so we've been talking a lot about that in the market. I'm sorry, in the live trade rooms. There's a couple of advanced things that I'm looking at kind of in the background that's beyond the scope just due to time here, just on YouTube. Vol structure, things like that. One thing that I'm noticing right now is that the volatility structure is increasing a little bit going forward here. So that's just letting me know. So the irony is, when we were down here on this new low down here a couple weeks ago, and everything was like, oh, tariffs and everything's going to be down, and kind of retail traders got heavy short down here. The vol structure dropped. The vol term structure dropped. So that's kind of let me know and the team know, because I'm keeping the team informed that we could potentially have a little bit more of a relief rally, which we're getting right now. Now that we're bouncing up a little bit, the term structure is changing just a little bit here as well. So it's going to be pretty interesting up here. So the 59.50, 59.50 S&P futures, if I just kind of round up, the 6,000 level in the S&P futures is going to be fairly interesting as we potentially rally up into this area here. As mentioned, I have a note here, nice for potentially maybe even legging into some bearish exposure. Okay, because we've been talking a lot about this, where if you are bearish and you want to short this market, you don't want to be shorting on equal to or new lows, right? You want a correctional move up. Okay, so you just got to make sure that you're on the right side of liquidity. So for today, 58.55, 58.85. Okay, that would be the first touch point where the bulls and the bears would have to come in and kind of battle it out and fight a bit there. 59.50, super interesting area. Not sure if we're gonna get there today. Okay, if we do, I'm hoping that it'd be long, right? The team would be long. We'll be taking profit, and then, as mentioned, potentially even maybe limiting in to some shorts. Okay, and not just a day trade kind of scalp short, maybe even holding on to a little bit of some exposure, getting some bearish exposure inside of this marketplace. Okay, Nasdaq, very similar. Okay, very similar, right? Basing. All right, we were talking about this. We have like an impulse leg lower, daily time frame Nasdaq futures here. Okay, we had like a little impulse move down. Okay, this is a a correctional move here. Okay, correctional move here. So you can see we couldn't really make a new low yet off of this. Okay, so we'll see. Is this going to be the ultimate low? Time will tell. All right, we try to we trade the tape. We don't try to go too far in the future. Okay, because even if it is, even if it is, there's going to be some, even if it is, how are we going to be trading it, up and down over here, right? And if it isn't, well, then we may be coming into some supply. I got that 21,050. That would be the equivalent level that I was mentioning in the S&P, representative of that yellow line right there, which has to do with weeklies, as mentioned on the S&P futures, right? So 21,000, kind of a hit point on the Nasdaq futures regarding some supply up here too. Okay, and then I also have 21,000. Call it 400. Okay, I know it's going to be hard to see on the streaming through the ghetto-ness of the phone. All right, but in over the next several weeks, I'm definitely going to be streaming through OBS and actually connecting all of the other platforms as well. I'm just a little bit busy right now with the team. We got a special class going on tomorrow regarding GEX. So my time is dedicated to that, to make sure that we put in a good lesson that's well needed. Okay, so anyways, I digress. Too much information, right? So today, there is a level up here that I'd be looking at too, 20,860, right? That's kind of a liquidity sweep here, all right? But high emphasis on that 21,000 here. Okay, I will drop down to the smaller time frames in a moment. Okay, we can map out our Globex high and our Globex low. Matter of fact, let me do that right now. All right, and so I got the Thinkorswim here. I got monthly time frame here on the left. I got weekly here in the middle, daily, monthly, weekly, daily. Super important. Can't stress that enough. Okay, monthly, weekly, daily. That's what we do, starting from the high time frames, even if you are a short-term day trader. Okay. Now I will drop down, of course, to the smaller time frames. I got the 60-minute time frame upper left. I got the 30-minute time frame here bottom left. I got the 5-minute, 5 here in the middle, followed by the 2 over here on the right. Pop up in the 60, 1 hour time frame here. And as we always do, we're going to map out what's called our overnight or Globex high, which is here. S&P futures, give or take about what, 58.34 handle, give or take there. Globex low, 58 kind of 0.1. Okay, so we got about 30-something point range here, give or take. And there's a nice little setup that we have, what's called a Globex trap. Okay, too much to explain every single detail here regarding it. Okay, we have diligent time to go over that inside of the classrooms. However, if I look down and left below the Globex low, which is represented by this blue line right there, 58.01, give or take, and I look down and left, what I'm looking for is an area of what's called institutional demand. If I look down and left, we have a nice little decent one right here. We have an impulse, a bit of a basing here, and then an impulse, so an IBI. Furthermore, this was a 57.70 handle that was once used as some supply here. Okay, Fed day, that hit, actually took a short off of that in futures in SPX. Okay, so we took Fed up, took Fed a little bit down. Okay, nice little Fed day. That was last Wednesday. Okay, however, we came up there again the following day, being Thursday, a day after Fed. And then, given this week, this week, Sunday open, we gapped up. And then even Sunday evening, we just blew through that level, okay? So that left what was once a supply level now is demand level on the other side, okay? So what I just drew right there in that gray box, which I will turn green to represent demand, is what's called a flip zone. And in addition to that, okay, we have a 60-minute level of demand, and that is also going to be pretty decent for what's called a Globex trap setup for today. That price point comes in 57.80. Okay, so 57.80 is a nice level to potentially engage what's called a Globex trap long. All right. All right, so pretty clean there. So 57.80, 57.70, okay? That forms a level of demand there for us, Okay, nice and clean, pretty decent, right? It was formed overnight. We tagged it. We tagged it Monday morning. Okay, because we just gapped up. We pulled back the view up and just ripped up yesterday being Monday, right? Nice trading day yesterday. Hopefully, all did good. All right, again, there goes that 58.55, 58.85 level on the S&P futures. Okay, exaggeration of the tone, right, for emphasis. All right, and yeah, watch out for that liquidity sweep right above. If you look at the level of 58, price point 58.85 on S&P futures, it's kind of like a shelf. Like right above there, there's nothing above it, right? If I kind of zoom in a bit here, okay, if you look at this level over here, you know, the 58.85, there's nothing above here, right? And over here, right, we have like these leg bars, speed candles here, right? That nice little drop here, okay? So, and then we get up into this level of 59.50 handle, right? As mentioned as well, right? But the point that I'm trying to make real quick is watch out for this liquidity sweep above the 58.85, okay? There's an even number right above there, 5900, okay? So in English and keeping it simple, okay? I wouldn't be surprised if we break that level of 58.55 and 58.85, kind of come up to the 5900, do a little bit of a liquidity sweep, trap some more buyers who are buying highs, okay, and then we potentially might have what's called a mean reversion, okay. So I'd mark out the 5900 handle on the S&P futures for a potential G-trap short trap, okay. All right, which would be bearish, right? And for a day trade, at least at a minimum, all right, and you know, that'll be pretty interesting. That's right above that level. If that 58.80, that you know, I'll just quote the last two, 55 and 85. If that supply zone kind of gets taken out today, potentially, okay, watch out for that 5900 even number. Okay, there could be some, because there could be some stop losses right above here. So that might be, right, anybody who's trying to short at the 58.55 potentially at the supply zone, albeit. And by the way, for my phantoms who already know, here's a drop, here's a basing, here's a drop. We already got tested this once. We already tested this twice. Y'all see that? If you look at the 58.55 handle, it's been tested a couple times. So that means that it's not as strong, okay, or valid, meaning that it could potentially get absorbed and break a little bit more higher, kind of getting into some liquidity here at the 5900. Okay, so I'm hoping that makes sense. Pretty simple lay of the land for today. So emphasis on the 5900 above, and then emphasis on the 5780 kind of below. Okay, I'll leave that there for now. And switch over to the NASDAQ futures. All right, Globex high. Globex low. All right, again, G-trap up here potentially. Got the 21,000 up here, pretty decent. Liquidity sweep here. So watch out right above this level. So 20,000, say 7. I'd even say 750. Decent for a Globex trap short. This is NASDAQ futures 1 hour time frame here. 20,750 G-trap short, decent. Bit of liquidity sweep there, okay? We got another level 2, 20,860 handle, and then the 21,000 up there, which is something that definitely want to put on the radar there. Got some yellow up there, which means weekly. Globex trap bullish. Do I have a level of demand below Globex low? Here we have an impulse, basing impulse. Right here. Price point. $20,215. For our G-trap long, Globex trap long. All right. That's a pretty decent one right there. All right, not bad. All right. So 20,000, 20,015 lower. For some G-trapness, some G-trap. And 20,750. At least the first touch point here. All right, we got a level of supply that we're kind of in right now. We tagged it overnight, so we're kind of absorbing that. So I want to see if we can get up into this area here if we have a nice little rally potentially. All right, gold. Monthly, weekly, daily, up, 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 up. All right, we pulled back. I know it's hard to see with all these notes here, but impulse, basing impulse that we came into. This is gold daily time frame here on the right. Impulse, basic impulse. We kind of dipped into some gold daily demand. All right, gold's been a beast to the upside, right? So we did pull back into some dailies here. Okay, we had a little discussion in the trade room the other day regarding levels and things like that. Globex low here, right there. Globex high. All right, gold's basing. We could have a base breakout potentially in gold. We're kind of snapping this, pullback here. Okay, so yeah, Globex trap. I mean, if we do break Globex low, we have a couple levels in here. All right, they've been tested, but for swing, if this could potentially break down a bit more and come deeper down into some weeklies. I don't have time right now to kind of go through over that and here, but we, in the trade room, we kind of had a little discussion regarding gold. We're kind of always talking about gold because it's a beautiful market, alignment, just bullish. But at some point, expecting some kind of deeper pullback, if you will, into some weeklies and daily time frame. So I got my eye on this 2900 area down into like the 29, call it 40 area, 2940, 2900, give or take, at some point where we could potentially dip down a bit more lower. Right now we have a pullback and we're kind of basing here. We did pull back on the daily time frame here. Okay, so if gold does pop, it could potentially pop, right? And of course, just drawing a simple little basic trend line, that people charge thousands of dollars on a silly class about a trend line. Okay, we could potentially snap that, right, and potentially go up, but we'll see, right? We have some liquidity, levels here that could potentially break, stop people out who are short, and it could potentially go a little bit more higher. Okay, so just be patient. We hit that Globex low here, as mentioned, right? So my phantoms would know how to what we call rip tape or trade tape. Positive COG, negative COG, etc. Okay, but if we do break Globex low, this level down inside of here, it only been tested, a couple times here, right? So we might, we could potentially find some kind of demand in here as well, down at the 3,000 handle, nice even number as well. Even if we break a little bit below 3,000, there could be a little bit of a trap here, right below here. Okay, I wouldn't be surprised if there's a bit of a liquidity sweep right below this daily level right here, stop losses, so on and so forth. Okay, so that comes in about 20,085. So in English, in shortness, if we do snap lower below Globex low and we don't come all the way deeper down here, okay, there could be a little bit of a Globex, Globex trap long and a liquidity sweep here, 29.85. So that's something that would be potentially on my radar too, just liquidity wise, G trap long. $29.85. This is gold futures here. All right, now there's not really a level of demand in here, but that would be just basically a liquidity sweep. All right, I don't have enough time to go over that. All right, so I wouldn't be surprised if we swipe below there. All right, moving on here, VIX. I got weekly time frame on the left, I got daily time frame here. VIX down. In short, a lot more to it, but VIX volatility index of the S&P, VIX down, market up, VIX up, market down. All right, so we get a VIX collapse here. Okay, we map that out on the on the higher time frames. We also obviously take a peek at this too on the smaller time frames. You can see yesterday just VIX just fade lower, so VIX down, market up, right? So even overnight tonight, or last night I should say, the VIX continues to fade lower. Futures are fading higher. All right, so just kind of mapping out the overnight high, overnight low inside VIX. SPYs. Weekly on the left. Daily on the right. Let me just go pop open the daily here. I kind of zoom in because I know it's kind of on the phone here. So we are having a gap up on SPYs. Okay, we're having a gap up on SPYs. What we're going to be gapping up about, give or take, about 0.3% right now. We're about 12 minutes away from the open here. Okay, you know, I would watch out for this daily high right up here on the SPY. There's a couple of daily highs up here that we kind of mapped out. 577.46, give or take. Okay, could be a little bit of a liquidity sweep right above here. So if long TP, watch out for a liquidity sweep here for a little bit of a pullback even intraday. Okay, we have another daily high up here, call it 580 on the SPY. Okay, so we are having a gap up. Just because we're gapping up doesn't mean that we're going to continue up. So as always, you know, Phantoms would know to you know, trade the tape. Okay, we could have a gap up, a little small gap. It wasn't as big as yesterday. Yesterday we had a nice little gap up, clearing gap. Okay, so we have a gap up. We could potentially come down before we go higher, right? So, you know, we'll see. We could just have a gap up and fade all day lower. Okay, so we'll see. But, you know, just hitting up some hit points here. Okay, we got some daily high here from March 7th. We have another daily high here from March 6th. Okay, highlighted in blue there as the color code signals. Okay, we also have this month's VWAP, March's VWAP, right here. At 581. So if we get up into the 580 handle, for sure take some profits on longs. Even for swings, if you're swing long on this, okay, I would suggest to maybe take some profit off some longs, some bullish exposure, okay, and then you know, definitely for a day trade, at least at a minimum here, some potential for you know, what's called a mean reversion, mean reversion short. Okay, SPX. Oh, well, and let me do the bullish side here real quick too. You know, for long, we get yesterday's low here, right? And we're going to have a gap now, right? We're going to have a gap here. So this would be an unfilled gap. So you might want to map that out, you know, 574 handle. Okay, we'll see. All right. And then, you know, yesterday we did, you know, yesterday we did leave a little bit of some demand in here as well, right? So, you know, just referencing this little level of yesterday where markets kind of picked up and made a quick little new high. By the way, you know, shout out to the team. We were in a session late day going over some swings and longer term, and you know, we picked up some SPX options and you know, put a little coin in the day trade account as well as we were working on some swings. Okay, that's just kind of what we do at Phantoms. Qs. QQQs. Slight gap up, got a daily high here, 590, I'm sorry, 490, 493-ish. Might want to map that out. Daily time frame here. And I got another daily high right in here, highlighted in blue, called 498.50, give or take. Just go to your daily time frame, map out those daily highs. All right, for some liquidity. All right, slight gap up. Here's yesterday's low, unfilled gap from from Friday to Monday, being yesterday. All right, so we'll see on this. So if long TP some, now I got some Q calls that you know, I need to dump. So you know, if we continue to rally here, you know, especially if we get up into the 498, you know, 500 area, if that happens, we get an unfilled gap here, 502. So we'll see. You know, I'm not sure if we're gonna get up there today, but that'll be awesome. But you know, you know, take some profit, right? As we rally off these March, which could be the potential lows. We'll see. All right, dollar index, pretty interesting. It's kind of in the middle, but right now, nothing really much to say about that just yet. Apple, daily time frame. Not quite of a gap. We have a slight gap up. Don't get me wrong here. We have a close here, slight gap up, inside gap. Had this daily high mapped out from, you know, March 12th, give or take. Okay, kind of parked there yesterday, right? We had a gap up, move up, kind of could not break that level. Got a monthly view up here too, and kind of faded a little bit lower for the day, right? As Apple. So we kind of, you know, we're trying to put in, again, same thing here. We're just trying to, you know, is this is this going to be a nice foundational level and we continue to go higher, which could be the case and we rally up? I saw my spot video yesterday. Would look at TP open. Yep, Santo's on the right side of things on this rotation here. Beast. Been a phantom for a little while. All right, Amazon. Amazon outside gap up, a little bit more strength on this. All right, picked up some Amazon. I've been kind of scaling into some shares on Amazon, as mentioned to the group. Came down to this beautiful weekly level down here, yearly view up 189 handle. Okay, rotation here. We're kind of breaking above here. So people who are short are feeling a little bit pain here. And you can see past couple of weeks, we've had a couple of hammer bars here. Okay, hammer bars here, and we gapped up above it. So, there's some pain. There's some pain for people who shorted this market at or around lows down in here. So, they might be forced to potentially buy to cover, which could fuel this market just rallying up a little bit here, right? So that's why at Phantoms we try to focus on not being emotional and being logical and doing the right things at the right time at the right levels. All right, while retail was dumping and getting short. All right, we're actually kind of legging into some bullishness over the past week or two, right? Fixing my charts over here. NVIDIA gap down. All right, things are gapping up a lot. So there's going to be some taking profit, I'm sure, off the open. So be careful off the open today, folks, okay? Yesterday was a gap up and run. Today, we have another gap up, again, on a lot of FANG stocks other than NVIDIA. So there could be some profit taking coming into off the open, okay? Just talking experience-wise. Broadcom, kind of annoying. I'm not going to waste time on this right now. Microsoft is Google, Tesla, Microsoft next. I got you. Broadcom, kind of in a weird spot right here. It is on the retest level over here. My Phantoms would know because we go over the high time frames. But this could potentially come a little bit more lower. Broadcom is not participating right now, to keep a long story short, into the little bit of the rally here. We're kind of basing here, kind of ugly here, right? So, we could move down a bit lower, which I would welcome. Okay, I would welcome. I got my eye on this 160, 165, 155 handle, December's and November low here highlighted in orange. That's a nice little level over there on the monthly time frame. So in the event, and that got yearly VWAP down here too. So a lot of stocks kind of rebalanced on their last year's VWAP. Broadcom hasn't quite yet. So in the event that Broadcom does make a new low, I'm a buyer. Google, I am long Google already, picked up some shares. I got some calls that are like just getting theta decayed out, but I got some shares, right? I've been mapping out this. I've been mentioning it to the team. We got monthlies over here, dipped into the level today, outside gap up, okay? Now the shares I'm going to pretty much hold, right? So, the calls, I don't know, they're going to probably be cooked because they're too far away and expiration wise, April 17th. But the today gap, we do have this unfilled gap. We have a gap up, yes. We have an unfilled gap up here at 175. There you go, Bucket. Good job. Yep, got a nice little bounce. The Bulls are taking over just a little bit for this week. We'll see if that continues as mentioned, right? Good job though. Good job. Today Google outside gap, yes. So, as mentioned, I'm kind of expecting a little bit of some profit taking a little bit here off the open, right? Tesla, super political, super emotional right now. You even got people, we don't play politics. We don't mention politics at Phantoms, right? We're just neutral. We're traders. We're traders and investors, right? This is business, no politics. But, it's kind of getting political now, right? Tesla, people keying up Teslas and blowing them up, which is not funny. But, I digress, right? Anyways, you get some people that are like, let's go short Tesla. People opening up some 100 strike puts, deep out of the money puts, Wall Street bets, all that kind of stuff. It's like bottoms in, all right? And, got their face ripped off yesterday, right? So we had this speed bar down into some weeklies and monthlies. Okay, inside day, kind of last 2 weeks were kind of choppy. There was some movement in here. We've been taking some trades in Tesla, right? But inside bar. This was called an inside bar here. the speed bar here or leg bar here, everything was inside of that, right? And this week we gapped out of that. So anybody who's short is just opening up this week in immediate pain. And then yesterday it just like put salt in the wound. Okay, we just ripped up. So out of this basing, that's what happens after a basing. This basing took place at a low level of monthlies and weeklies down in here. Okay, gapped up, breakaway gap here, and then just ripped. Right, took out 3 days just in one day. You have another gap up here. Okay, Tesla 300. If we can get up into the 300 area, if you're long or if you even intraday, okay, definitely would suggest to take some profit. Okay, and even if I did want to short this, okay, we're coming up into some levels that of supply where you don't want to be shorting. That's the thing. People get emotional, okay, and it becomes about something else, right? So Tesla's like becoming about something else, and that's the thing. You can't. Trading is trading. Trading is business, right? Keep it business, right? Keep your politics and opinions aside, man. It's business, okay? So and then if you play games, man, you'll pay for that, right? So anybody who's short Tesla is just getting their butt kicked, at least for right now, right? At least for right now, right? Markets continue to move. If I wanted to short, I'll be shorting into supply. Simple as that, right? So we got some levels up here that, if you hate Elon, which I don't care. Live and let live. Okay, I'm unbiased about anything. This is business. But if you're in that camp, which you could be, all good. I don't care. At least look at a level of supply. At least look at a level of supply to lean against to sell short into. Okay, not on new equal to or new lows. Okay. That said, Tesla 300 even number there. All right, pretty. It was once like a 2023 high. We kind of broke that. Okay, now we're kind of using it as supply. We get some levels up here too as well, right? So just for today, I'm not going to go too far up, but I'll say at the 300 level, we got monthly VWAP here as well, 289 handle. I already did ES levels, so I'm not going to go back. The market's about to open, so you can maybe watch the recording of this. I did what's called the Globex traps. Microsoft. Interesting. Would love it down here. 370. No gap today on Microsoft. Could that daily supply turn into a flip zone? Yeah, we would have to break it. We'd have to break it and then be back or be above it, and then we have to break above it and then use it on the back end. All right, markets just opened. Take some classes at Phantoms, and I got no time to BS, man. Take some classes at Phantoms if you want to know how to chart. And if you were already a Phantom, all good. Continue with the process there, right? So markets just opened. All right, let me just get a thumb on the pulse with some internals here. Advanced declines, positive 588, not super extreme or anything like that. Another gap up, rally up right now. SPX first print here. Netflix, you want to be careful with it, but Netflix is a little bit strong off the open here. Amazon. All right, so kind of what I'm looking at here in the SPX is if we can get up into, we get this 6,000, I'm sorry, not 6,000 now, we got this 5,800 here on SPX. We got a daily high, 5783, okay, which could provide some liquidity here. And then we have another daily high up here, 5812. Okay, so at some point this market's gonna have to mean revert on the smaller time frame here. So you might want to pin that 5800 even number on SPX here. We check XBot. check GBP. Forex is easy. Forex is easy. GBP USD, you know, dollar down. GBP USD is built, you know, with strong strength, has some relative strength. We got a level of demand here. I took a massive swing trade from here to here up to the 3. Took some profit. I'm actually reloading a little bit here, so a little bit of a shelf here on demand here on GBP. So it's going to be interesting to see if we can break this 1.300 area. All right, we are in this level. I'm kind of hoping that we kind of pop up a little bit here more. All right, emphasis on that SPY 76, 77 handle up there. All right, so far Tesla gap up, fade lower. So it's called a gap and crap. All right. So, you know, long puts Tesla. All right, so if I pick up like a 30 delta Tesla 276 half here, sorry, 267 half here, go for about 425. Long put Tesla. Google has relative strength, bullish. It's got filled Tesla 440 on the 267 half strike put. I remember my first bear. I remember my first Forex trade. Long put day trade. All right, I can already TP a little bit here. I got a 460 fill. All right, going for 480 here. Could TP more? I got a 470 on that. All right, quick little scalp. I want to be a little careful with this move up, as forementioned. I don't want anybody to get bull trapped. All right, we have monthly VWAP, y'all. Y'all, we got monthly VWAP right hanging up here. So be careful, okay? Be careful up here. All right, don't get too euphoric. Did you just say euphoric? So you can see fade, things are fading a little bit here, right? So just be careful with this. Okay. Also SPYs. SPYs are at some daily, well, not quite. Not quite. I'm kind of hoping it gets up to the 76 handle up here. All right, SPX is at that daily, daily, a little bit of a daily supply level up here. So I want to be a little cautious on this. And as mentioned with the Globex trap levels on S&Ps, right? So S&P futures just pulled back to VWAP here. All right, so if we do pull back 5780, that's going to be the level. Somebody was asking about ES levels, 5780, right? Had that there, and then we're just in the middle back of Globex range. That's all. So just be patient, and then we get the 5855 handle up here. All right, VIX showing advanced decline, Valdi up. A little bit of mix on internals here. We got open interest, positive GEX. We got volume, negative GEX. This is building up here. Negative GEX on the negative GEX on this profile. 5740s loading, building up on SPX. Options flow, massive down here. Somebody sold a boatload of puts today. Somebody sold a boatload of puts today. Taking over the options chain. Damn. Somebody thinks this market's going up, or at least not down. 5740. And that's right here. So somebody sold that. That's customer profile. That means market makers are long that put. So that's actually going to provide stability for the market, if you understand GEX. But we're going to be talking about that as a special session yesterday. Massive sold put here. $57.40. Amazon relative strength, TP some. Tesla new low, TP some. All right, TP some Tesla. Apple new high, TP some. If you got fall through on Apple. If you're in it, you got it. Apple new high. I just took some profit on Tesla here, 495. They're going for about $5 now there. On the Tesla bearish long put. All right, let me TP some more here. I'm gonna bang out of here. I got ish to do. I got stuff to do, y'all. I'm gonna bang out of here. So TP some Tesla here. All right, nice. Got a nice little 550 fill on that. All right. On Tessie. Took Amazon short. It's a little bit more of the relative strength one today, so just be a little bit careful with that. My question to you would be, why short Amazon when it's showing relative strength and not short Tesla? Maybe you did short Tesla, but Tesla's relative weakness. So that's all. Just but you know, we got a level here. You got a level there. May the trading gods be with you. I hope it works out for you, brother. All right. At least you shorted up into supply. But you're going against some strength right now on one of the stronger stocks, right? Tesla, I'm kind of attacking weakness. But I'm going to bang out of here, y'all. I got stuff to do. So if you want to learn a little bit more about this, Trade Phantoms, I don't got time to play online right now. If you want to learn more about this, TradePhantoms.com. That's the real place where we go and we do the damn thing. Excuse my language. Click on register. And let me see. We got Thursday, March 27th, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. About 2 days from now, name, email, click register. You get sent a link. Mr. Black, Mr. Green will host about a 90-minute kind of class. It'll show you kind of how markets work. How professionals trade it. We're all professionals here, right? All stock, all markets, stocks, futures, forex, options, day trade, swing trade, everything here, even crypto, right? Wealth management, everything. So yeah, if you like it, great. If you don't, I don't care. We don't care either. If it's a fit, it's a fit. If not, all good, man. Other than that, I'll see y'all soon. I'll see y'all later today in class, and then tomorrow, of course, we got a big day. So strap up, blew out, trade safe, be safe, peace.